So a lot of people don't understand this, and you know, to educate you guys, I'm 26. I just turned 26 in May. I was born in '97.
May what?
May 11th.
May 16th.
Oh, period. A Taurus.
Yeah.
Gang.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, my father, he, you know, he had the Source magazine and was doing very well for himself, and held the family down, and it was good. I would say I remember enough as a kid, you know. I was up until like 9 years old. That was when I kind of like, but still till 9, you don't like you don't really know so much.
Mm-hmm.
I would say at 9 is when you kind of start understanding life. So around those times is when I kind of just, me and my mom and my dad separated when I was 9, and my mom took me and my 3 brothers, Monty, Kwame, and Taj, and my dad went to Miami, and that was when, you know, we had to just make life adjustments.
Wow.
And
Were you a daddy's girl?
nah, I was a mama's girl.
Mama's girl?
Yeah, you don't listen, I just said that.
Okay.
I just said my biggest support system was my
It's
mom.
your mother,
Yeah, I'm
right.
the only girl. It had to be that way.
But
I always grew up around boys. I wanted it, you know, I wanted my mom right next to me.
doesn't mean you didn't miss your dad.
I mean, you know, he was working. I mean, one thing I could say is being in this industry now, you feel me, even though my father and me ain't have a relationship that I would, that any daughter would want, I would say, or any normal, he was working, you know? And to be in this shit now, like I can only imagine what he was going through then. As a child, you know, growing up, no one really sat down and taught me and like completely helped me understand or even at all on how things were the way they were and why. So that's where a lot of resentment and anger came from. But you know, him being busy, he didn't have time to do, you know, a lot of fatherly things. But one thing I do know, he always smelled good. He was a hustler. He was the cleanest person in the world. He'll make sure the house is always spotless. Like, you'll have to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning if you come home. He don't give a fuck if you sleep or whatever. Like, you gotta clean. He makes sure we good, you know, give us Christmas money, clothes, like, as much as he could, you know, as much as he could. Nobody knew how and how things were gonna end, but he did the best that I would say he could.
So he's more of a provider
Yeah.
than anything.
What do you value more? Do you value more the time that you can have with your dad or the financial aspect?
Well, back then, I of course, I would value the time. I would love to have, you know, still to this day, a great, beautiful relationship with my father. And I hope, you know, that we do be able to have that. And I know we will. But I didn't understand. And yeah, like I that's exactly what I wanted, you know? And even then it was just like guidance. And, you know, I had sex at a young age. I was out in the streets, 13. When we separated, it was like we had to figure it out, you know? And
How old were you when you lost your virginity?
I was like 14.
Damn, you was outside.
Yeah, I was.
Jeez.
Easy,
That don't mean that.
I was outside. I don't give a fuck. I was outside. I mean, you know, I experienced, you know, I had my first job when I was, you know, 15, 16. I was selling drugs. I was between 17, 18. I was working real from supermarkets to Palermo's bakeries to all kinds of jobs. And, you know, I at the end of the day, shit happens, right? And it's like I call myself Hannah Montana because it's like the best of both worlds. That's what I would look at. That was like how I looked at it, right? As a kid, like, because I was into Disney Channel, love cartoons, and, you know, Hannah Montana had that lifestyle to where when, you know, it was star, but then, you know, trenchy and I guess it was just more of the fact that, I don't know, like shit just happened the way it is.
I think that, like, in a situation like yours, I kind of went through that kind of situation myself growing up. So not on the star aspect though, but having it where, you know, you're outside or whatever the case may be, like it starts somewhere. So a lot of times we don't understand that, like people from the outside looking in, right? It's just a process that you're going through. You're trying to figure things out. So myself, that term outside, it has like a negative connotation to it, but people don't understand the root of it.
Right.
The root of why you're there.
Yeah.
And it starts in the home.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
1000%. But I mean, everything that I went through definitely made me who I am, you know? I mean, at the end of the day, I also realized being in this industry, you can have it today and it really could be gone tomorrow. And the hardest thing is maintaining it. It's not about how you get it, it's how you maintain. And you know, also too, relationships is key. You know, you don't want to, you know, you never know when you might need somebody, you know. Like I realized a lot of the stuff, like I walked in here, I knew it was what I was into, and I know I never even had this conversation before. You know, I could have said, I want this amount of money, you know what I mean? And this, you know, or I'm not coming at all, but just out of the respect of like, I respect everything that you guys are doing, and I hope that you guys will, you know, so far I feel very comfortable, but at the end of the day, it's like, listen, now this shit is so real, and it's like, you know, I sat with Busta, and I'm grateful to have so many legends be able to put me on this game, but shit, they say it was a jungle, and shit was crazy, and to be 26 and I've been 4 years signed, and to see so much shit happen, it is toxic. Like, it's times where I felt probably lowest of my lowest. It's times where, you know, even still to this day, like my family, you know, I gotta be there for my family. I wanna make sure everybody's good. You know.
Do you find yourself in that same position of being a provider, but not being able to give the time?
Hell yeah. I mean, you know, our parents went through shit, so we don't have to go through it. So, you know, I could look through my father and my mother's situations, because my mother's not too, you know what I'm saying, perfect neither. You know, we all not perfect. And at the end of the day, like, it made me who I am today. Like, that's just all I can say. Like,
that's where the forgiveness comes in at. Because for me, I was angry for a long time that my pops isn't around. And then at some point in my life, I was like, you know what? My pops is in my life. I might not be who I am. And I like who I am. So this was my path. I accepted. I'm happy for it. And I forgave him.
I mean, I forgive my father. I don't knock him at all. Like I said, still as I get older, and turn into a young woman, you gotta realize, like, you have to forgive. And I love him. Like, he's my father at the end of the day. Like, you know, people wake up and he's dying every day these days. You never know, you know? So I'm grateful. And at the end of the day, I still learned a lot. You know, I got that hustle that I have, and that drive that I have is in my blood. Like, not only that, but I'm really nice when it comes to music and the mic, and very musically inclined. I'm a genius. I always say, like, I don't know my fucking IQ, but I know it gotta be crazy. I dropped out 9th grade, but like, listen, I'm a genius. And I feel like that travels through my blood. You know, I'm breaking generational curses. So, you know, what he went through, I don't have to go through it. All I gotta do is learn from it. You know what I mean? And be able to continue to just, you know, make the best out of it, move with positivity. I just want to move with positivity, and I want to be able to have kids and be able to teach them and show them, and also for them to have a grandfather and a grandmother. So, you know, this is real life shit, and that's why I wanted to come here, because I don't have these real life conversations, and there's a lot of young women out there that also have, you know, even in the music industry, like I see it, you know, that are in my age group, even a couple years younger, that got fathers in the music industry that, who knows, like, still going through it. It's still new stars being created. So I just feel like, you know, and also to be able to make people understand, like, I'm very well woke. You know what I mean? Like, I'm so woke. And a lot of people don't understand that.
It's hot for trapper turn smack rapper. Only smack rapper that you know is smack rappers. Got bars, I can hang with the backpackers. Trap star, I don't hang with the backpackers. I'm in the hood with the work, you heard. Making fiends leave earth, you heard. Got your baby mama thirst, you heard. Feel the flow, nigga, throw it in reverse. This the wave you need to surf, you heard.